At first glance, it may seem surprising to make parenting one of the strongholds of equality, yet it is the last barrier to break. But it is certainly the most difficult because it's cultural in nature. Often, when we talk about gender inequalities, we talk about salary differences. Every International Women's Day on 8th of March, the press inundates us with figures comparing salary differences between women and men worldwide. However, salary, as I like to say, is only the tree that hides the forest of inequalities between women and men. Inequality in initial training, in profession, in working hours, in promotion, in career, etc. But in these areas, by working on them, we can reduce or even eliminate salary differences. As a company here, for example, will testimony DANONE, EY, Inditex, which have achieved this. And sometimes, women are now even better paid than men. Regarding parenting, it's basically maternity. Labor laws protect vulnerable employees, particularly women, creating significant inequalities. For example, women's night work was long prohibited by labor law in Europe, and it was not until 1976 European directive that European states allowed women to work at night. And just to clearly understand the resistance on these subjects, France transposes this European directive, 1976, in 2001. And only because otherwise it would have to pay 800,000 euros per day of delay. So it was a good reason, but it was not the good reason. The protection of women has led to often unjustified inequality in treatment. In the case of night work, nurses, for example, have always worked night shifts. So, regarding maternity, the same applies. We know that having a child is a 2-year loss in salary and promotion in company not committed in gender equality policy. This protectionist view of women ultimately reduced them to their role as mother, more important than their career. It is they who were given, and still in many companies and countries, sick child leave, who take care of children on Wednesday, take part-time jobs with loss of incomes and promotion, who care for children during vacation, take them to the doctor, help with homeworks, and it was confirmed by the BCG study during the COVID. Thus, women are not seen as men because they are perceived as mother. However, today, thanks to committed companies, things are changing, and women are no longer an undamaged species to protect, but rather the child of a couple or family is taken into account, as well as parents' well-being. New family forms have helped change the vision. When there is only one parent, single parenthood, or 2 moms or 2 dads, we can no longer talk about a weaker sex, but about a family with a dependent child. This is a genuine cultural shift towards greater equality, regardless of the parent's gender. But this topic remains difficult to address because it is still very cultural and touches the private sphere. Maternity and parenting are family roles and thus fall within the private sphere. Today, gradually, we are entering another vision of the world, a much more egalitarian vision where father will take care of children as much as mother, and gradually companies are paving the way by offering sick child day to both father and mother, extending paternity leaves, perhaps eventually achieving full equality in maternity and paternity leave. The equality will have an impact not only on family roles, but also on the culture. For example, a man who takes care of a baby, especially a baby girl, may not later think of being violent towards women because he has seen the fragility of a little being. This reminds me to Thomas Pesquet, you know Thomas Pesquet, who from the International Space Station noted that from up there, Earth seemed so fragile and needed care. Many companies committed to equality have taken on this issue, focusing on parenting and not just maternity, to open up equality for everyone and all family forms. Those holding the GES label, so Gender Equality, European and International Standard, have participated in an international parenting guide produced by our organization. And you can download it this evening on the website. And if it's possible, just to put, it was not to put this, just the slide where there is the guide next. I have this, okay. Okay, thank you. So you can download on this site. This guide allows for a global tour to see the practices implemented by company. And in a moment, we will give the floor to our distinguished guest. It is very interesting to note how much companies have outpaced public authorities in truly embedding this cultural evolution into facts and procedures. Because as long as women are put under protection regimes, they cannot be placed on an equal footing. It is therefore fundamental to change our stance. Already, in many countries around the world, companies are taking over the public authorities. Not far from here, in my country, in Italy, for example, companies are taking over from public authorities by offering childcare solutions or childcare vouchers. We see how important this phenomenon around children is because it also represents a demographic challenge. Without children, there is no possible social protection. And in the end, nations lose out because women no longer have children, and there is no generational replacement for pensions. We see how all our issues on gender equality and paternity linked to equality are major and macroeconomic issues. Too often, these topics are considered just women's and family issues, but not, they are a strategic one. So let's ask our panelists how this works and in each of their companies. So thank you so much to be here together again. And my first question is for you, Caroline. Caroline, you are founder of The Next Woman in Tunisia. And my first question is what is The Next Woman?
The Next Women. The Next Women was an idea, started 10 years ago, a little bit more, in Holland. I'm Dutch. And I just have to say that I'm very happy to see all those orange national color. We are in a football period, so thank you for that, Jonathan. Anyway, so The Next Woman is a concept which was started 10 years ago in Holland. Because at that time already there was a kind of an idea that women were not there in everything that had to do with innovative companies, tech, and so on and so on. So there is a platform that was created in Europe, in the first time, to put together all those women from scratch, who is there, who is doing what are the needs, and how can we make them more visible. And the second step was the creation of the same idea platform in Tunisia, where the situation is a little bit different because there are a lot of women working in tech, in innovative companies. So the role is not the same on the visibility of the tech women. It's more than a network of how women in general can be more visible. Owners, women own businesses, but also women in corporates, and that is the the thing we are doing with the Next Women Tunisia, make women more visible through different activities, networking activities, pitch competitions, publications of women-owned businesses doing more than 1 million turnover, putting women together and talking about a lot of topics. And one of the topics is, of course, how do I balance my career and my private life, which is really the question for all the women. So that is a little bit our mission.
Thank you. And what is the solution?
Sorry?
What is the solution?
What is the solution?
Yes. What can you, how can you help them?
Well, since Cristina asked me to talk about parentality or parenthood, so I'm thinking all the what we have been doing and the different situations I know. So I'm from Holland, I lived in France, and now I live in Tunisia. So I see different patterns everywhere, but there's always one pattern coming back. And it's not when you get children. Every country has more or less rules. There are different rules in Tunisia, which apparently they're going to increase a little bit because it's not that easy for the moment. In Holland and France, they are more or less the same rules. France, I'm coming back on that later on France. But the question is, it's not, okay, I got my baby, it's difficult, it's a new life, etc., but it's afterwards. It's when the children are coming bigger, when the career of the women are coming up, and then it is, how can I work this together? And then I don't have the solution. The only thing I always say is that you have to talk. It is about awareness. It is about awareness in your family. It is about awareness of your own family, husband, parents, children, company. So there is a lot of talking. And I mean, we are not born where it's said we are very good in grocery stores, so we do know how to cook. It's something which cultural laws are putting on the women. And there's something else which is extremely important. That is also the attitude of women itself. There are two words, I just had a discussion not very long time ago this morning with someone. There are two words which are blocking women in their awareness of just do it for yourself and not being, let's say, the care person of the whole world. Delegate and perfectionism are really the keys of being aware that you are there to not only for the others but also for yourself, and that it's a sharing position you should work on. Care is sharing. If you don't share the care, it won't work, and you have to start with yourself. So if you say, what is the solution? Talk about it, be brave, take information from other women who maybe did it a little bit more easy, and it really is about the mindset. I really think it's a mindset also. Without talking about governance, companies, cultural solutions which you can find, but I think the awareness, the mindset, and talking and trying to find solutions is something which exists. The solutions are there. It takes a little bit of time, but I always say, when you really want to make a career or you really want to have a good work-life balance, start to take a babysitter list. You won't know how many women don't want to use babysitters because they are not them, so they were perfectionists. They don't use it. It's a very good solution, babysitters.
But to share the role with the father also, it's...
Of course.
And you have a very global vision because you are from Holland, you come in Paris very often, and you live in Tunisia. So can you compare the differences between these three countries?
Yes. Well, you think that because Holland is in the north, you think it's Scandinavia. It's not. And it's not such a modern country as it can be in France. Just to give you an example, I've got two sisters. And one of my sisters, when she got a baby, she had to take 2 au pairs from South Africa to continue to work on a full-time basis. I lived in France, and I had my kids in France. And it was organized also by the company, but also about the state, that gave me the possibility to go on working on full-time. And the rules in France are absolutely very modern. Maybe the French themselves, they don't know it, but we can tell you from comparing to other countries, France can be a very example. And then in Tunisia, it is a huge thing in Tunisia. You have a lot of very well-performed women, and they've tried to find solutions, but just to give another anecdote, the same thing. I was working with a big French company in Tunisia, but only Tunisian people working there, IT, and one of my questions was, in which way your private life can be a barrier for your career? The guys, they said, nothing, and they didn't even understand the question, and the women, they said, tout, because they have a triple life in 24 hours. So if you've got a little bit of money, it's maybe a little bit easier because you can hire people to work for it. And it's again, it's talking, and it's maybe a little bit more difficult in, let's say, in the Mediterranean area. But the difference is, it's not because it's Holland, it's North, it's better. I think that France could be kind of a leading country in Europe because it makes laws, which is for the rest is following by the other countries in Europe. And they think, I mean, I don't have any friends in France who work part-time. In Holland, 75% of all the women work part-time. So, you know, but I'm absolutely convinced that mindset is something which, and awareness is a key of a lot of changing, I hope. Voilà.
Thank you, Caroline, for this testimony, your testimony for the next women in Tunisia. And we will stay in Tunisia with you, Noureddine. I had the big honor to come on the 8th of March in your company at the headquarters in Tunis to give to you the GIS award, the GIS certification. And you, when we spoke about this, you told me something very, very interesting, and it's the reason why I invited you to come here in Malta. You told me that parentality was in the heart of your strategy. And I would like to ask you two questions. Why EY, because EY is one of the leaders of consulting in the world, why EY is so engaged in this topic and not issue? And you spoke about a methodology, about KPIs. You've reached KPIs very, very quickly. So I would like to share this very interesting testimony about what you did and what you are still doing, and you are an example.
Yeah, thank you, Cristina. Thank you for your invitation to take part to this great event. Thank you, Elizabeth, for your testimony about Tunisia. Maybe what I was talking about, let's say, is to some extent in line with what you were saying. Cristina, as she said, asked me to talk about our own experience in Tunisia. We are part of a global firm, which is Ernst & Young, or EY. It's operating in the audit and consulting space, management consulting, but technology consulting as well. We are present all around the world. Big firm, I mean, more than 300,000 people and 50 billion US dollars in revenues. As a global firm, you know, we are, let's say, from the outset, culturally committed to let's say, the benefits of diversity, and in particular, the promotion of women. This is for us as Tunisians, this is particularly true in our country, where the promotion of the status of women has been the most successful in the Arab Muslim world. and I would say maybe beyond the Arab Muslim world. Despite the fact that the Arab Muslim culture is by definition conservative and let's say to some extent male-dominated. Indeed, most of the countries' economic and social policies since post-independence, which occurs in the mid-last century, has been based on the liberalization of women and their integration as the driving force behind the country's development. That's why today, and this is what Elizabeth has confirmed, today you will find a high proportion of women in different sectors: education, healthcare, engineering in all disciplines, and more recently we see this in the entrepreneurship space. And its high proportion may be higher, and maybe it will surprise you, than what we observe in developed countries. For years now, the proportion of women succeeding in school at different levels and in university graduates for women is higher than that of men. So I'm talking about this just only to have an idea about the context we live in Tunisia as a firm. But maybe I will disappoint you, and I will be frank on this. It's not because we are committed to the cause of women that we have implemented gender equality policies within our company. In reality, in fact, it was business imperatives that lead us to do so. It all started in 2019 when we were, and hopefully we are still, a pioneer company in our field, the largest one in the market, with 1,000 people for a small country, Tunisia, of 11 million inhabitants. And we had and we still have the best image in the marketplace, the best notoriety in the marketplace. But we have noticed that the level of engagement of our people was falling. This is what you call the engagement index. The engagement index, we measure periodically through independent survey within our people. And it's based on key elements that reflects, let's say, the commitment of the people to the firm and the commitment to stay in the firm. So we noticed that the engagement index was falling. And in particular, it was the level of female engagement that pulled down the engagement index at the firm level. Indeed, this was totally matching with what we observe in the ground. While we were recruiting more women than men at junior level, just because they perform better. That's it. We were losing a good proportion of women at the stage when they were in a position to move up to the managerial level. While the rotation of our people, particularly the most talented is key for our continued success. So for us, this was a major wake-up call. And it was at this point that we took the issue seriously, and we carried out an in-depth study internally to understand better the situation. The outcome was clear. With no surprise, we confirmed that our HR policy and practices was indeed fair from a gender perspective. No bias or desire to segregate male over the female. No. But we did realize that we had to consider the personnel constraints of our female, regarding the status of our female staff, if we wanted to retain them and lengthen their stay within our company. As a result, we took, with courage, a set of measures for a better work-life balance. A part of these measures are specifically addressed to the female population. But a large part of the measures are addressed to all the staff, regardless their gender. But beyond the operational measures that we took in 2019, we set up a genuine gender policy, drawn up and communicated within the firm at different levels. We set up a clear vision, and we define a quantified goals. And we build up a gender committee with a group of employees with the role of promoting the gender policy within the company, to monitor the application of the measures we've taken, and to make, let's say, a continuous evaluation of where we are and what to improve. And this gender committee has a principal sponsor, myself, the CEO of the firm. Miraculously, the results were not long in coming. They even exceed our expectation. Even thought we were starting from a very low base in this area. Let's say, let me share with you some figures that illustrate the situation in 2019. At that time, the proportion of female in our firm were 52%. So we had more female than men. At the same time, the proportion of women at the managerial level were 26%. The proportion of women at the upper level, what we call the partners, were 0%. Despite this, our vision and goals were very ambitious. To be by 2025 the best reference in gender equality in our profession, and reach by that date over 50%, at least 50% of female in the manager level, and 30% at the partners level. These were our goals. So in 6 years, we have to do that from where we were in 2019. Miraculously, the trend takes the right direction starting the coming years, just the following year, and consolidate year after year. To make the story short, the proportion of women in the manager grade, the manager level, passed the 50% mark for the first time in our life in 2023. It was exactly 52%, to be exact. So 2 years ahead of the schedule. This year, 2024, with the recently announced promotions of new partners, 2 weeks ago, we have now 8 women among the 25 partners, which represent 32%. Again, 1 year ahead of the schedule. As if by miracle too, the engagement index has risen steadily from 69% in 2019 to 80%, the most recently measured one. This level, 80% of engagement index, is what we call in, let's say, in the space of, let's say, services around consulting and so on, it is the best in class. So we hit the best in class in terms of engagement index. In 2024, the Gender Committee has proposed to apply for GIAS label for our gender policy, which we happily obtained. So all are good so far. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Noureddine, for this incredible testimony. And to link with Caroline, it's very interesting to see that in the case of small companies or medium companies, it is a mindset and it is organization, and in big companies, it is the process, and you reach your goals very, very well. And we will continue with the big companies, with Danone, with you, Ernestine. You are the global D&I in Danone. Danone is a company whose mission includes taking care of nutritional for mother and babies, especially, and it's very natural to be committed in parentality, in global parentality in this topic. But what was, it's very interesting, it is that you have a global policy of parenting, and you use something very interesting to explain to our guest, the neutral, the way to be the neutrality in your way to implement this policy. Can you explain us what is neutrality and what is your global policy and how you decline it?
Thank you, Cristina, and good morning to everybody. And Noureddine, great, amazing job. Congratulations. So happy to hear that. So, when we look at Gina Davis Institute report, Rewriting Motherhood, it indicates that in the US, working moms, 41% of them contribute at 50% to household income. And another 25%, at least a quarter to it. Nevertheless, the burden of childcare lays on the shoulder of women. And at the same time, if we look at TV advertising, we see that 80% of moms are featured by young, slender women with perfect makeup, hair brushed, brightly smiling when they are doing their childcare and work. So it seems like it's faultless. It is like, magic. Well, but we all know that's not reality, isn't it? So how can companies contribute to support working parents? And at Danone, we have a proud legacy established by our founder, Antoine Riboud, during the French Employers' Union meeting back in 1972, so 50 years ago. And he set forth Danone's dual project, which means that economic success and social progress have been together. So it offers a unique proposition to all employees committed to bringing to life our mission, bringing health through food to as many people as possible. And this is part of our DNA and our culture. So one of the flagship elements in our diversity, equity, and inclusion plan is our global parental policy, enhancing family well-being by describing primary and secondary caregiver status instead of mother and father roles. So we understand that each family is unique and therefore propose unique solutions and support to our parents. It allows parents to choose who is primary caregiver and can take 18 weeks of paid parental leave. So let me share an example. I recently met one of my young colleagues who became a father. And he told me that he felt so included in his role thanks to the global parental policy, because it allows parents to choose who will take the benefit. And he was so proud to have the same level of responsibility and possibilities as his wife in taking care of the baby. So finally, they decided that his wife takes this first parental leave because it was her first baby. But they agreed that for the next one, he will take the parental leave. So it's amazing to see how much progress we see in our young generations. And compared to just 2 decades ago, we even did not imagine talking about this kind of subjects. In addition to our paid leave, we offer other benefits, of course, like counseling pre- and postnatal periods. Of course, we support 100% the World Health Organization recommendation about breastfeeding and therefore propose advice for breastfeeding, and in all our entities we are offering lactation rooms so that women can either breastfeed or express their breast milk. And we had the testimony of one of our Egyptian factory workers who said that she was so released to have a clean, nice room equipped with all furniture and devices to express her breast milk. Before that, they had to go to a bathroom or another place. And we all know how important these moments are for mothers when they are breastfeeding or expressing their breast milk. In addition to all that, we also have, of course, our return to work programs. We offer flexibility in working hours and adaptation. Management is supporting our parents coming back. And one of the most important programs is our first 1,000 days program. As part of the policy, we commit to supporting parents during their child's first 1,000 years, from pregnancy to the second year of life. It aims to protect the health and well-being of working parents and their babies by helping parents to adapt to their new life and responsibilities. And moreover, DANONE is specialized in nutrition, and therefore our employees get access to best information about our years and years research and knowledge. So to have the best information about a baby's nutritional needs, and we all know that these first 2 years are essential for the health of the rest of our life. So whereas our global parenting policy offers many benefits and support to our employees and aims to reduce gender inequality when it comes to parenting, as an employer, we also see positive impacts. So when we look back at the example of our young father, we see that it clearly generates engagement, motivation, and retention. And further, we have a high return rate of parents coming back from parental leave. And after maternity and parental leave, like in Italy, it's 100%. In other countries, it's very high also. So this shows that even on talent attraction side, candidates, especially young generations, check carefully a company culture, and this kind of support is definitely one of the reasons why I want to join DANONE. So in conclusion, our parental policy reflects DANONE's commitment to social progress and the well-being of our employees. We believe in providing equal opportunities and support to all parents, fostering a culture of inclusion and equality in the workforce. Therefore, our gender-neutral parental policy is the basement for all countries where we are operating, but each of them is adding new progress, so we continuously improve. And we do hope that many other companies and governments could take the same direction. So to close gender inequality in the nearer future and open the doors for women to be able to thrive in their professional and private life. Thank you.
Thank you, Ernestine. You see how big companies can change the world by having role model processes, new vision, and they give the answer to everybody. They are inclusive. They don't leave someone on the side, and it is very, very important. So thank you for your two beautiful testimony. And now I'm giving the floor to Rachid. Rachid, you are the D&I Large Europe, more than Europe, at Inditex. And as an Ernestine, you are very committed in new forms of parenting as a significant challenge for promoting equality between both parents. And I know that you are very committed personally, but also for your company in this kind of things, to have an equal treatment and equal and equity treatment with single parents, to moms, to dads, etc. And can you explain how do you do this? How do you implement this in Inditex with another challenge, because you are a lot of very young people?
Yes, of course. Thank you for having me. Just before to answer to your question, let's have some parentally language. Inditex is the mother company of Zara, Massimo Dutti, Bershka. We have 7 brands. We'll remain a young company because Zara will celebrate 50 years old next year. And we are one of the leaders of the accessible fashion in the world. We have 164,000 people, okay, all over the world, but we remain definitely a rooted European country, okay? More than 55% of the people are working in large Europe zone, and then we have 20-something in Americas, from the north to the south, and 20-something to Asia Pacific, okay? So this is important to mention that we remain a Spanish company and well-rooted in Europe. And when you have 164,000 people, half of them are under 30 years old. And then if I go a little bit lower, okay, from this 50%, the core, the majority are between 18 and 25. So I will tell you, it's not the responsibility of the company to make them the sexuality education. No, usually they should arrive on the labor market with some sexual and family education. Saying that, we are as retailer, but just like the food and beverage retailer like Starbucks, McDonald's, we are industry with rotation. That's the core of the business. But our responsibility is that anyone from any age who is coming to work for us for 3 weeks, 3 years, or 3 decades just like we have a senior store manager above 50, 55 years old. This is our responsibility to give them the best value and also the best orientation in best practices and bad practices. You know, I am member in different committee. I always see people sharing best practice. When they invite me to share best practice, I share a bad practice which has been a failure, because this is the way you learn, okay? Because all intention were around the table. Everybody was excited to do it, but we failed in the assessment, in the profiling, in the implementation of the project, and then we said, okay, it was absolutely not what we should have done, and when you share it with other company, trust me, they are happy to say, okay, we save money and time and failure in front of the people. So this is our responsibility to set up things. And I will explain what I mean by things, because parentality is a suitcase word or a shaker. Put whatever you want inside. Okay? In the US, they're gonna say, oh, now with the surrogate motherhood that L'Oréal subside and underline, because I used to be a decade at L'Oréal. I'm happy to see that they do that. And then you're gonna have also company who say, oh, you are only diversity and inclusion. Why don't you put equity in the middle? You know, it's trendy. No. It's difficult to put equity in the middle. Going back to the US, even if you are a European company, okay, and the abortion is forbidden in the state where you work, companies support you to go to another state to do it. But if you are a global player, yeah, and you have someone working in Dubai, for example, where we have our biggest Zara from the world, said, I am a local employee, I need to do an abortion. You do it in the US. Invite me to France. Give me a flight ticket and also annual leaves to do it. So in terms of equity, you need to be well established and to have covered all your process in front of your employees and stakeholders before branding the equity word, which is quite powerful. But if I go back technically, in the parentality, first of all, you have the legal framework. No company can go against the legal framework, and I take the opportunity that we are in the Pride month almost everywhere, and many people, when they are talking about the new typologies of the parentality, they do a shortcut, just like in IT, you know, quick shortcut of it is linking to the LGBT plus community. No, I'm sorry. New parentality is also linking to new way of life. How many women, okay, decided to make a child alone, okay? How many fathers are taking care of their children because the mother passed away when they were young in an accident? And in parentality, this is also not in the descendants, the kids we're gonna have. This is also the kids that we are. I am from Algerian roots, Berberian. I don't have my parents anymore, but I can tell you in my family, no way that one of my parents would have been hosted in a retirement house for elderly. This is against the education we receive. And by the way, we are 11 children, so it was easy to take care of them, you know? Yeah, it's almost 1 month each and 1 month holiday for the year, you know? But it, yeah. And for other, they're gonna say, okay, I have money, or I have the pension of my father, or I do it. And they ask to the company also, some days, many companies also, now you can give your left holidays to another colleagues if they have to take care of children with disability or someone from the family with a disability. So in this suitcase that you put whatever you want, this is not the topic, you need to have strong diversity and inclusion policy in the company and communicate. And parentality is linked to gender equality, okay, because it was discrimination, and then we were talking about diversity, and then inclusion arrived, you know, and then from inclusion it was well-being, you know. So now we are in a moment where the direction is very simple, yeah. If you have to do it much better than the law. And in that we are very good. In Italy, in France, everywhere we are very good. And we have 15 perimeter certified Gs. But it's gender equality, inclusion of people of disability in your strong policy. This is also inclusion of the LGBT plus community with the allies, okay? You support, you do not support, but you cannot go against, okay? And the socio-ethnic inclusion. How many people, they wanted to have children, but they are from faraway employment market and with minimum resources. And when you do that, you need to aim to do sustainable parentality, because if it's just a pop-up action, you know, that will solve the problem, okay, I'm going to divorce, okay, take 1 week free, we will pay for you. No, it should be sustainable. And back to the new generation, I'm going to share with you an anecdote which is true, yeah. Who knows what is xenogender here? No. Xenogenders. So xeno comes from Greek, the other, and gender, you know. This is a new tendency since a couple of years. This is the people who identify to another gender, but animal or vegetal. Okay? You can go on TikTok, hashtag xenogender, hashtag non-binary. You have more than 70 million views on that. And we have enough distance from the UK, from the US, but also in France, from young generation who wants to cross the barrier from the digital life, from video games, who they identify themselves as cat, as elf, as alien, goblin, queer from video games, you know. So we are lucky because we use uniform, but when you see them arriving like this, or you check them, it's quite something questioning. So the strong thing that we do, because they're questioning the gender topic in digital times, okay, we reinforce all the morning meeting that we do before we open the store. This is a short, inspiring session. We deliver video question, and then the store manager with the team in cycle put the topic, and then we discuss. Okay, we have strong communication in intranet, and I will not learn you anything. You know that DNI is storytelling, so take people who has a story to tell, okay? Okay, I get married very young because it was my decision, and then I regret it because I wanted to evolve in the store and things like that. Also all the partnership that we do with the organization. Now also something I implemented from Kazakhstan to France. This is the menstruality precarity, you know. Now that we have it almost in all store in my zone, and when some old school, even if I'm 51 years old, they ask me, but why do we do that? I said, but 3 decades ago, we were putting condoms in stores, bars, or everywhere. So now we have also in the precarity women who do not have enough money to have a safe menstruation, which can link it to parentality, yeah? And this is kind of thing we do, but also we teach them through storytelling, partnership, no transgression, zero violence against anyone, not only women. in our company, it's zero violence against anyone and full acceptation because we are working in fashion. Don't tell me it's easier to be non-binary or to work as a transgender or FTM, because we speak a lot from men becoming women, but in the society, I mean the worldwide society, we have also the FTM, the female becoming male, and we have some in the company. This is also the way we put tolerance to them to accept that one day, no matter the way, they will be parents if they want. And no matter what parents you are or from, it is having given birth education out of love, roots, and responsibility.
You have a little overview of my job every day. It's very interesting, very funny, and very, very deep in the values. We go very deep in the values. In the guide, you can download on our website. You will see, I was very surprised doing this guide to see how big companies committed in gender equality are very committed in this issue of parentality, and they grow up the standards, the local standards. It's really very interesting to see that, and it's a link to my next question. And first point, and when I listen to you, I am very proud to contribute with you all and your Jesus certification, because it's not just an audit, it's a methodology and a big process to understand and to change the mindset and the culture of a company and of all the ecosystem of the company. I'm very proud to see that we are really, really on the way to change the world and to be very inclusive. This is very, very important. So I have a second question for all of you, and very quickly, maybe. I understood that it's not the question of women, Ernestine. Is it only a question of women parentality?
Yes, of course, as I already highlighted it in my session, it's not only a question of women, it's also a question of men, allyship of men, support, active support. And even if we go further, when looking in our countries, our big industrialized countries, birth rates are shrinking. So I also really want to, I'm convinced women will not go back home. So if we do not find solutions so that women are equal and can parent like men and have the conditions to do so, well, in our societies, we will have a big problem. So it's urgent to do something. It's not the question of women, it's the question of everybody.
Noureddine, what is your point?
I was thinking about the next steps for us, for our firm. Maybe the first idea that comes to my mind is just to enjoy our achievements, because we worked so hard for that, and we have to take some time to enjoy it, to be proud of it, collectively, I mean. But more seriously, maybe we have to really jump on this achievement to consolidate this cultural move, because beyond the numbers, beyond the business standpoint I was talking about, I personally feel something which is a cultural move within the firm, and we have to consolidate it. I mean, just be careful to not keep our hands away. work on this consolidation of this cultural move, this good spirit for better well-being. Second is, let's say, manage the move from, I would say, a pure gender equality standpoint to a wider parentality perspective. Again, for a sustainable work-life balance and well-being. So it's really linked to this, and I was listening to the previous speakers. Really, it's insightful. Third, maybe use better the gender equality as a gateway for a wider diversity within our firm. And last but not least, inspire others outside the firm. Be active on this to inspire others to do the same. Again, it was all what we did was driven by, let's say, business standpoint, but at the end, it is a totally cultural move we enjoy to be in.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Caroline, for the next woman.
For the next woman, it's again a kind of a real mindset thinking, changing, and what you don't know, you don't know. So I always say data is very important. And if you have more data and if you have the numbers, then everything is linked to gender equality and then parenthood. And I always say also, which is that mothers, when they change, I always say the world will really change if the education, sorry, I have a very loud voice, but I think, I always say that the world will really change if the mothers of sons change. Because and that is not only a country thing, I think it's a real cultural thing. I've got only daughters, and I can see mothers when they have sons. It is not the same thing, and I think there should be, it's a really important point, and I say it a little bit as a joke, but it's not a joke. I really think it's true that it comes from the new generation. And I'll just give you a last anecdote. I've got 3 daughters. I make it more personal because maybe people then can understand, because it goes always to your personal life. I've got 3 daughters. 2 of them have a Dutch boyfriend, and those Dutch boyfriends, their mother didn't work. The sons have a totally different way of thinking already about the idea of that mothers do work or do not work. So it is also, and because those young boys are surrounded by girls who talk about it, I think it's very important. So I give the micro to you. So please, mothers of sons, do change them a little.
So Rachid.
Yeah. No, as I said previously, no matter what parent you are or from, it is having given birth and education out of love, roots and responsibilities. But talking about responsibilities, sometimes, and I'm talking more from my zone that I have under control, the public institution or the public government sometimes do not support enough. Sometimes this is because the company and small, medium-sized or major player, they are elevating the diversity policies in terms of maternity, paternity, whatever, that after that, the politics say, okay, we are the last one, we should do it, you know? But to answer to your question, it's definitely, you were talking about mindset, but at the beginning, for me, it's more a question of behaviors. This is the way you behave. You have the right to not be agree with your colleague who is divorced 3 times and has 6 kids. You have the right to not be agree with me that I'm coming from a numerous family, and it has a sociological sense. It calls the demographic complex that mention numerous family, they don't have a lot of kids, okay? And small or unique child family, they do a lot of kids, yeah? You have a lot of research regarding that. Me, I decided to never have kids because I have too much enough nephew and nieces, and I'm gonna put my child in the middle, yeah, so that was my decision. But, you know, to answer that, you know, it's in terms of behaviors, okay? You have the right to understand that in some part of the world, you get married with your first wife and you will keep it for the rest of your life because you don't want to disappoint your parents, you know? Nowadays, in many countries, we still have new generation hanging on that, you know? They are coming back to old value or process. The only thing, behave right, because when I saw from the CGF, dream, we all dream to have a family, okay? And then we have inspire, okay? Get inspired from your colleagues, from your company, your best friends, or your parents, okay? But act. The last word is act. Nowadays, okay, you build your own comfort zone of parentality, but act and behave as someone living in 2024, because the next decade will be a little bit rodeo and rock and roll. Yeah? Thank you.
Thank you, Rachid. So to conclude, but there is no conclusion because it's a big way to a big journey, this gender equality, inclusive and parentality topic. I just want, if you want, to have a look to the camera and to give your punchline for the social networks, saying at Danone, we believe that parenting is a major issue because blah, blah, blah. Each of you, please. There is a camera, maybe you can, thank you very much. Thank you.
At Danone, parentality is not an issue because we think that supporting families, parents, with solid policies and solid management, inclusive management, this will bring the topic forward and open the doors for our women to be able to thrive during parenthood and also their career.
For the Next Women, the mission is to make women more visible, which means that the situation or the position of the women starts to be something very normal and very understood. That's not a good word, but that's not paraal. I only will say share the care. I really think that's the whole thing, share the care.
As I feel happy with my own sentence, so at Inditex, no matter what parent identity you are or from, it is having given birth and education out of love, roots, and responsibilities.
At EY, we are committed to manage the move from a pure gender equality standpoint to a wider parentality perspective for a sustainable work-life balance and well-being.
So thank you so much. You are really big and huge change makers for the society, and I am very proud to work with all of you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Caroline. Thank you.